Hello and welcome to another episode of The Mark Medley Show. As always, I am thrilled and grateful to have the opportunity to share with you through this podcast platform. Most of my podcasts generally are positive, happy and peppy. As that old Odd Couple episode would say, happy and peppy and bursting with love. However, this one probably is not going to be like that because it's going to be more directed toward our political climate. One of my favorite cousins posted that she was signing off of Facebook for a little while because the posts had become too political. And she said she knows how she is in terms of wanting to fight back and debate. So she said it's best for her to just back off of Facebook for a little while so that she would not have to engage in the political forums as it was getting just too political with all the different posts. And I totally understand that, but the truth of the matter is just about everything we do is touched by politics one way or the other. This is one of the worst political climates I can ever remember being in since I've been here on the face of the earth. And I remember all the presidents going all the way back to Lyndon Baines Johnson. I remember Johnson and then Nixon, then Ford, then Carter, then Reagan, then Bush, then Clinton, then Bush, then Obama. And now we have Donald Trump. And the question I have is, because for me personally, the jury is still out in terms of, is Donald doing what the people want? Because in my mind, I'm saying he's not doing what the people want, or is he? In terms of the folks who elected him. Certainly he's not doing anything that I want. Certainly I can say that clearly and plainly and truthfully. I sit here and look daily at the various tweets, commentary, the dark speeches, and there's no way in the world that he's doing anything close to what me as an American wants. So I question, for the folks who put him in there, is all this aberrant behavior what they really want or wanted? Because in my mind, it's just a matter of time before the president turns on even the folks who supported him and voted for him. Look at the pattern. His closest supporters, they're getting fired one by one, as if it were that reality show, The Apprentice. But the truth of the matter is, the government is supposed to serve the people and not rule the people. And it seems more or less like Donald Trump is looking to rule the people compared with serving the people. I even question, does he even know how to serve or what service really is? I think he's one who's been served all his days in one way or another and has no clue of what it means to serve. He thinks he does, but just watching and observing, I personally don't think Donald Trump has any idea, not one iota, of what it means to have to serve someone. I could not believe yesterday morning, because I happened to be on the air on my live radio show, The Reading Circle with Mark Medley, and I was going through social media, and I see where he had tweeted something at 4:30 in the morning concerning the mayor of San Juan, literally criticizing her leadership skills. Now, this is the issue I had with that, because Puerto Rico at this very moment, because of the hurricane, has lost all their power. They have no access to their money because the ATM machines, of course, is run by electricity. Gasoline is gone. No clothing. Food is running out. barely have water, if that. And he's up at 4:30 in the morning tweeting something about the mayor of San Juan's leadership skills and her inability to get the workers to work together. And then he goes on to say they want us, meaning the United States, to do everything for them. And it's what I understand, and I don't know if it's true or not, that the president didn't have sense enough to understand that Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. The ultimate rulers of our democracy are not the president, the senators, the congressmen, and the government officials, but the voters of the country. Yet it doesn't seem that way. It seems flip-flopped. It seems reversed. Rather than us being a government of the people, by the people, for the people, it seems like it's the other way around. And at some point, when do we as the people say enough is enough? I mean, I don't know how we as the American citizens or the American voters, how we would go about overthrowing the government or toppling or removing the current administration. I don't know how we would go about doing that, but I do know we need to start speaking up, because enough is enough. Every day we turn on the television or the radio or go on the internet, our president has done something that's an embarrassment to the country, and he doesn't have the sense enough to be embarrassed himself, because he doesn't realize he's done anything embarrassing. Everything in his mind is great. Everything in his mind is big. Everything in his mind is wonderful, as he does it. Not necessarily the case if anyone else does it. It seems like all he can do is criticize other folks. And my question is, what are you doing up at 4:30 in the morning tweeting? Tweeting, criticizing somebody else. One would think, why aren't you snuggled up with your wife or something at that time of the morning, other than sending out tweets about the mayor who is suffering with her people who has nothing? Talk about kicking a man or kicking a woman when she is down. But if you read between those lines, that is yet another example of how the president feels about quote-unquote minorities. And I've told you all on other episodes, I don't see myself as minority anything, but that's the term. But another example of his view of minorities and women, because the mayor of San Juan is a woman, is a female. So now he's criticizing her leadership skills, and then he goes further on to say, in terms of how he views people of color or minorities, because what that statement of they want us to do everything for them, if you read between those lines, they're lazy, they're shiftless, they don't know how to do anything. All they want to do is have a handout for somebody to give them something. They don't want to do anything for themselves. That's what that was saying when he wrote the second part of that tweet, where he says they want us to do everything for them. And that's the way he views. That's his view of people of color. I don't even want to say minorities. That's his view of women. And see, again, these views were very prevalent during the campaign. And yet, there were enough voters, at least in the electorate, in the electoral college, not the popular vote. There were enough in the electoral college to get him in the White House. So the question becomes, is he doing what America wants or not? I don't know. Maybe he is. And that's a sad statement. If what he's doing is of the people and by the people and for the people, if that's what the people are saying they want. Because I'm not sold that that's what the people want, but that's what we're getting. And that's what I'm saying. The government is supposed to serve the people, not rule the people. And we seem to almost be on the brink or already there, at least in his mind. That's why this whole thing with Russia and North Korea, and he admires these kind of dictators. And I believe he thinks that one day he's going to be one here in the United States. That the United States are going to be run like some of these communist countries, and he's going to be the head of that. But again, our government, that's why the framers put things in place. That's why the balance of power was there. That's why you had the various branches of government, so that no one branch would ever take over and rule the people. And we seem to have forgotten that. Those on the conservative side, the conservative talk show hosts, are always citing the Constitution, but we're not following the Constitution. The government is supposed to serve the people, not rule the people. And this administration is looking to rule the people with all these cockeyed views, all these cockeyed executive orders, all this cockeyed view of trying to roll back everything the previous president put in place for no other reason than seemingly being obsessed with trying to outdo someone who seems to be obsessed with trying to outdo that African American male who sat in the seat prior to him. Our government is supposed to serve the people, not rule the people. And as I said in the beginning of the episode, this was one that wasn't necessarily going to be positive. At some point, the people in the country who knows that what is going on is absolutely ridiculous. Because anyone who could sit there and co-sign on those comments that the president made about that mayor who is suffering with her people down in San Juan, they're just as miserable as he is. Because he just strikes me as a miserable soul. He talks dark. His speeches are dark. So anyone that co-signs with that kind of darkness, in my view, is just as miserable as he is. The president needs to understand that just because someone doesn't look like him, is not his color, does not have the money that he has, does not mean that they are not human beings and people too. Our government is supposed to serve the people, not rule the people. That includes the president, the senators, the congressmen, the Supreme Court. Everyone who's in the administration, they're there to serve. They were voted to be in those positions, to serve, to represent. They were not put in those positions to rule over us. Our government is supposed to serve the people, not rule the people. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Mark Medley Show. We can be heard on so many different platforms, and I'm so glad. Whether it's Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeart, Spreaker, Stitcher, YouTube, Amazon, Google Play, and the list continues to grow daily. Wonder Radio. So I do ask that you subscribe or follow on any or all of those platforms. And you can hear me live on Saturday morning as I web stream around the world on gobrave.org. That's GOBRAVE.org. And it's heard locally on FM radio, WP 88.7 FM in the New York area. Again, I thank you for listening, and we must rise up. We must get together and say enough is enough.